Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be going over another Cricut project with you that I am so excited about. To start, I just wanted to make a couple notes. We are still in the travel trailer, so I do not have Wi-Fi, which is why I am using Design Space on my phone on data, so it might look a little bit different than you're used to. And second note, you might be hearing some fun construction sounds outside. They are happening at all hours right now as our house is being built. So please ignore those, but it is a very exciting time. So here we go. So I decided I wanted to make a sweatshirt for myself that incorporates my two kids. So I'm going to go ahead and make a mama sweatshirt. So here I'm just going to look for the font DIN Alternate. I don't know how to pronounce that exactly, but it's just a very easy basic font that I wanted to write mama in. I'm liking the look of all caps, but I might mix up the font here for a minute. That's the fun thing with Design Spaces. You are not stuck with one decision. Please play around until you are happy with what your design looks like, because once you cut it, it is set, especially once you iron it on. So I'm actually going to go back to the first font. I'm a poor decision maker sometimes, but I like the nice clean lines here. I'm going to zoom out so I can see my workspace. I'm going to add a rectangle here. So I measured the sweatshirt that I'm making so I could see the space that I have to work with. So I'm going to make a rectangle here that's the same size as the space on the sweatshirt. So I know the max height and width I can go with my design. So I'm going to bring it over here as my workspace. So this is the sweatshirt. Decided to make it the same color as the sweatshirt just to help me out. I'm going to hit the button that says Arrange and Send to Back. So it's the very back layer and everything else will be on top of it. So now I'm going to change the size of the word mama and just playing around with it. I don't have any set size I'm wanting, just until it looks good width-wise on the shirt. Somewhere right around there. I'm going to make it white because I'm going to be using white heat transfer vinyl. And it's easier for me as a visual person to make it white here in Design Space as well. So I'm going to start here adding images. I'm going to add first violets. So what I'm doing with this sweatshirt, I'm going to look here for some violets to use. What I'm doing is I'm putting my children's birth flowers on it, as each month, if you didn't know, has a type of flower assigned to it. So that's what I wanted to do for this sweatshirt. I just think it's a really pretty idea. So I'm going to take these violets here. They're made out of two colors right now, two different layers. I'm going to go ahead and hit Actions and then Weld, so it's all just one color. And then I'm going to change that one color to being white, because I want everything on this sweatshirt to be cut out from white heat transfer vinyl. So violets are the birth flower for February, which is when my son was born. Next, we're going to look for marigolds, another beautiful flower, which represents October, when my little girl was born. So we have a couple different options here for marigolds. That one's okay. What's the fun here is you can play around, insert a couple, and figure out what you really like. So I'm going to look at these two, and then look at their style compared to the violet. And it's pretty clear here that I want the more detailed one, just because it has the same design feeling as violets. So I'm going to go ahead and make it white as well. So now we have the marigold and the violets. So for my two kids, next we're going to I want to add their names next to their type of flower. So it just will really have that personal touch. So I'm going to look here at different fonts. I want something a little bit swirly, like this cottage style probably. I'm going to start with my son's name. We have Grayson. And then I'm going to find the same font again here and do my daughter, who is Oakley. Okay, so taking Grayson, I'm going to change the letter spacing here. You might have seen me do this in previous videos. So the letters connect better. Again, you might be hearing some construction sounds. Sorry about that. We're just getting our first floor in today. Okay, so I brought the letter spacing closer. I'll explain that better here with Oakley. And then I welded it all together. So change the letter spacing so some of the letters connect. And then we're going to go to Actions and hit the Weld button, which makes it one long continuous cut instead of having cuts between the letters. And oops, if you see the A there, sometimes that happens, so I'm going to undo. And I need to increase the letter spacing out a little bit so it doesn't fill that A in. That's something I learned over time that helps there. Perfect. There we go. So those are one continuous cut for each. I'm going to go here and change the color of it to white. So now I'm going to take the names and bring them down to the appropriate flower. So Grayson, being born in February, is going to go with the violet. And Oakley, being born in October, will go with the marigold. So I'm actually decided it might actually be cool if I were to, sorry there, my phone moved around, to connect the name with the flower. Just an idea I had while I was going through this. So I'm going to move the end of Grayson to be kind of within the flower. And then I want to weld these two pieces together, these two layers, so that there's no cut between them. It's one continuous piece, as you can see it there. Hopefully this will work out spacing-wise, that I'll have enough room to do this on the sweatshirt. But we will see as we go. It's the same thing for Oakley. I'm going to take her name, bring it close to the marigold, right about there, and then I'm going to select both layers. And then I'm going to let you see more up close here the actual welding process. So you can see it become one piece there. And the purpose of that is you're avoiding a bunch of little cuts here and there. Like if there was a cut between that the vinyl could possibly peel up a little bit. It just makes it a stronger piece if it's a continuous cut. So I'm going to play around with the sizes here. Again, that's the fun part about making your own design, is nothing's ever set until you send it to that machine. And even then, it's not set. We all have, at some point, recut things after seeing it in our hands. So, no worries there. So again, remember this pink shape is the workspace I have on my sweatshirt, size-wise. I'm gonna now decide if all this will fit or if I need to adjust sizes or anything like that. So I'm going to play around with what goes where. Oakley's flowers actually seem to go better next to the word mama than Grayson's. I'm going to have them kind of coming together a little bit in the middle. Actually, it all fits pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and probably leave things how they're sized. So I'm not going to attach all of the words together. I'm going to have it cut them all out separately. I just wanted to see if I would have enough room, because this way I can kind of adjust them more once they're in my hand. So I'm going to have it cut out just 3 separate things, the mama, the Grayson, and the Oakley. So you can see here with the layers that I confirmed. We only have 4 layers right now, so the names are attached to the flowers. So we're deleting our box, our back layer, because we don't actually want that cut out. And we're going to go ahead and send it to our machine. So let's get our heat transfer vinyl ready here. Again, working in the travel trailer, kind of everywhere ends up as my craft room. So we have moved to the floor, which works. It's a nice level surface. Besides kids running around, just going to measure out enough vinyl to make all 3 of those words and images without having too much wasted. Okay. So now I have our piece of heat transfer vinyl. Just a side note, remember it's really important with heat transfer vinyl to make sure you have the correct side up. It's usually the more dull looking side, the cutting side, and the shiny side is usually like a film that you'll be ironing onto, if that makes sense. Also, as we've all forgotten at some point, remember when you're doing heat transfer vinyl, you have to mirror your image, or you would have an interesting looking sweatshirt with all of your words being mirrored. Which again, we've probably all done at some point. First couple times I worked with heat transfer vinyl, I definitely cut it backwards, so no worries there. We're going to press on the vinyl here. Since I haven't been to storage to get more of my craft supplies, I went ahead and ordered this new mat, as my old ones were not very sticky anymore after a very long time of using them. So let's go ahead and open up the machine here. Back up to the table. Okay, we're going to feed our mat into our machine and let it do its thing. I won't have you sit and watch it cut everything out because it will take some time with those intricate little cuts. But as you can imagine, we're going to skip ahead to weeding here. And I may speed this up just a little bit because, as you know, weeding takes time. Side note, look at my beautiful workstation here. Kind of looks like a wood table. And it's one of those nice big pieces of paper I have from the craft store to just kind of keep everything in one spot. It's easy to move around and keep everything together. So I'm just cutting apart the three main parts that you saw us design together so they can each be weeded separately. So again, we are definitely not in normal speed because that would be pretty boring to sit and watch weeding. Although it can be therapeutic to just sit and weed all those little spots. But we are back to the floor. Let's go ahead and figure out placement. So feel free when you're placing things. You are not set or stuck to where you originally made it in Design Space. That's why I didn't have these three things attached when I had it cut out. I wanted to be able to move it around, really get a feeling for what I was doing. So I'm going to heat my surface up here before I place my first word. I'm using the Cricut Easy Press 2, I believe. So a lot of people like to measure, figure out exactly where their words are going, use a level, different things like that. I am not a good role model here. I like to just eyeball it, to be honest. Sometimes I stand up and look down on it and figure out if it looks pretty good to me. My thought is most people I'm walking by are not going to be getting a level out and making sure my sweatshirt is perfect. Also, when we're wearing it, it lays in different ways, so not looking for perfection here, and it's not a sign going on the wall or anything. So I eyeballed it to get the word mama on. I am using the parchment, whatever sheet that came with this vinyl I ordered from Amazon. But make sure you look at the instructions for your heat transfer vinyl because all of them are a little bit different, and you want to make sure you follow it correctly. So this is a cool peel vinyl, so I went ahead and let it cool down. So now I'm going to peel off the top layer. We are a third of the way there. Okay. So remember, it definitely sticks better if you heat up your fabric first. So I'm going to heat up the spot and then put on our next piece of vinyl. So this is the marigold with Oakley's name. And although I'm only putting one on at a time right now, as the plastic pieces would be overlapping, I still want to just make sure that the last name is not going to go over into the stitching or anything. So just checking where it's going, and then pressing this one on. So while this one is going, I want you to go ahead and tell me who has been using an iron versus who's using the easy press, and what success have you found? Have you been able to have success using the iron? I wanted to have a backup option when I didn't have my press with me, and I was just wondering how it's working. What settings are you using to get it working just right for you? So let me know there, and also let me know what projects you're working on right now, because it is so fun to hear about what other people are doing. That is probably why you ended up here on the crafter side of YouTube. So there's our next design, and we're going to heat up the spot for our very last piece here. So we get to add on Grayson and his violets. So again, not measuring or making things perfectly straight or nice, just eyeballing it. And I kind of liked the names coming together a little bit on the bottom, as if it was a bouquet instead of being perfectly up and down like I had originally planned. So then remembering, just for when this is done, for your heat transfer vinyl, make sure when you're washing these items that you are having them turned inside out. Try to protect and make your vinyl last as long as you can without edges peeling up. But if you do make mistakes, I have heard of people reheating it up from the inside of the shirt and being able to peel the vinyl up a little bit. I haven't tried it myself, though. So here is my finished product, and I am really liking it. Go ahead and let me know what you think and what you would like to see next.